Howdy, howdy, howdy. You know, it's a little hard watching Big Brother Canada and then jumping right over here and trying to do this show. So I appreciate y'all waiting for me just a little bit. Thank you much for that. Welcome to all of y'all. Let me start off with a big old SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love reality fans, and I especially love Big Brother fans and all of you guys coming out here to hang out with me again this evening. Just makes Monday nights that much more exciting. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. I'll say it right off the bat so we can get past it. If you haven't done so already, please go out and subscribe to my channel, hit notifications, hit the thumbs up if you don't mind. And if you trust me to put on an okay show this evening, then you can go ahead and thumbs up. But no, thank you for being here with me. I appreciate it. Yeah. Fix my screen a little bit. So anyway, where's again? Happy rainstorms, y'all. If you're in the neck of the woods where it's raining, it's been pouring down this afternoon. More so, I started up a little while. I'm growing loofahs, all kinds of stuff back in my garden. I'll talk about that some other show. So I appreciate the rain as long as I'm indoors getting to spend it with you instead. So let's see who all we got out here before I go any further and talk about a few things. I want to talk about Big Brother Canada because I'm in kind of that Big Brother mode since I just got through with that. But let me see out here. Andy W. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Rainy days and Mondays, a perfect description of this evening. Ma is angry. Howdy, Ma. And thank you for your compliments. I love doing those Photoshops. They're always a little fun. I would have never thought I'd have fun doing that stuff beforehand or would figure out how to do it, but I enjoy doing that. XX Typhoid. Howdy to XX. How are you as well? Brian. Howdy, Fred. How are you doing? Anthony Stike as well. We'll talk a little Survivor. Mark Taylor. Hayden. Happy belated birthday. Well, thank you. Yeah, I had my birthday yesterday. I appreciate it. And yeah, we'll talk a little bit. I went out to eat and I did birthday kind of stuff. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Mark Taylor. All right, I'm going to get to your question in just a second, Mark, because that's pretty interesting. Jake the Horror Movie Geek, Alicia, Marilyn Sutherland, Noah Lemon. How my friends out here? Julia Shepard. Hey, Julia, how are you doing as well? Fred Benson, Michelle Dyer. You know, I recognize a lot of those names. There's a few of them I don't. So for those newcomers, welcome aboard. And welcome to those who are watching this on replay as well. I'm glad that not only that you can watch on replay me talking away, but you get to see the comments and everything else that goes on, because it's a big part of the show. So I'm glad we get to do that. All right, now back to that question. Let me see if I can find it again. Noah saying, come back a little bit later. I have to get some work. You got to take care of your work. All right, Mark saying, do you ever listen to the other BB Canada podcast? Maggie, Rob has a podcast, others. Here's the thing. I used to. Rob has a podcast. I listen to that. Rob has a podcast all the time. Rose Mad does her parodies and everything. I always loved hers as well. I don't watch it, TV Talks with Tom. Now, TV Talks with Tom, I still watch his quite a bit, because I appreciate Tom's insights with it. He's one of my favorites, but I don't watch it as much as I used to, and the reason being is strictly this: if I listen to them telling their takes, their opinions on Big Brother, Survivor, Amazing Race, whatever it is, if I watch their opinions, then it makes it harder for me to offer up my opinions, because we may have the same ideas, then I feel like I'm stealing their thoughts. Or if they're saying something completely different from mine, then I'm like, maybe I wasn't paying enough attention. So I try to avoid it, just so I know that I'm giving absolute original, fresh opinions from my side. So yeah, I don't watch as much as I used to. And I tell you where I kind of got away from it. When I got out of the Big Brother house after my season, was back home, I started listening. I did a lot of podcasts for other people on that, but I went back and started trying to catch up with some of the podcasts that covered my season. And that's really stressful, because you do good things and you do make good plays and things go well, but you've got a few where people are critical and wondering if you could have done something else. And so I went in listening to all of these things, thinking, all right, they're not going to be 100% positive on what I did. There's going to be some complaining and criticizing and all that. And there was, and that's fine. You better have thick skin if you're going to play a game like the Big Brother Survivor. And so I was fine with it, but it does make it tough when you're listening to the podcasters talking about you or me. So as a result, I listened to it all, but because I missed that season, because I was in the house, and because I want to have my own fresh opinions, I don't listen as much as I used to. I'll still catch a random episode when I'm in the car and stuff. And it's always, I just love the fact there's so many people wanting to talk so much about these reality TV shows, because it's as much about the community and the passion from the fans as it is the show itself in a lot of ways, right? But yeah, I do that. Now, I mentioned that I just came over from Big Brother Canada and watched that. I've been trying to stay caught up. I know some of y'all watch it, not all of y'all do, but we want to talk about that a little bit. So a couple of questions just real quick before I give y'all my thoughts. Mark saying the final five, who has the best odds to win it all? Can Betty win it all? And Michelle saying, Dyer saying, definitely Kevin and Joshua have taken them out in a triple. I kind of agree with you. I think I kind of think Kevin's got he's got a resume. He's going to be able to get out there and do a final kind of deal and talk a lot about everything that he's done. I think he's probably one of the biggest threats in there. He's got Haleen as a big supporter. I think Betty's a supporter since he and Haleen saved her, or said they'd save her, and they ended up doing it as well. I've been cheering. I told y'all a while back, I was cheering for Kevin and Marty. And so yeah, I hated to see Marty go, but I kind of get it. And I'm not really upset. It is what it is. He had some sloppy play here and there, and it was time. He got too many people upset by flipping here and there. So it is what it is. So yeah, I'm kind of betting on Kevin. I'm kind of cheering for Kevin when it comes down to it. But anyone left in here, I think could deserve it. Betty's done pretty good. I would not have guessed that she would stick around as long as she has at the very beginning. So she maybe is one of my kind of underdog picks. So yeah, I don't know. It's been fun. Did y'all see? I don't think I'm giving away spoilers, and for those of you watching especially, but tonight they had Ika came back in and they had a shredder, and I don't know, Ika made she kind of roasted the house guests that were still in the house. It just reminds me of Zingbot from our season. You know, Canada doesn't have Zingbot, so they got Ika in there to roast everyone instead. And Ika Wong, for those of you who don't know, Ika was, what season was she on? She was one of the earlier seasons, and she was notorious because she had the option of taking, I think it was a cash award of some sort, either that or she could give letters to all the other house guests from their families. And we see it on Survivor and other shows where people are like, oh, I'm going to watch out for my person and all of that. No, not Ika. Ika said, well, forget that. I'm taking the money. I don't like any of them anyway. They're not going to keep me around. And I'm shredding those letters. But she didn't just shred them. She had to shred them with everyone watching from the camera inside, watching as their families, their loved ones' letters to them got shredded one at a time. And Ika kind of celebrated as she did it. So Ika a little bit she's been a beloved villain. Is that the right way to put it? I hope Ika considers herself to be a little bit of a villain. Surely so, because I don't want her coming after me. She doesn't put up stuff. I met Ika before I went on to Big Brother. We had to do a whole round of press. Y'all know how it goes. I talking to Entertainment Tonight, and I went to the diary room, talked to Jeff Schroeder, and anyway, Ika handled the interviews for Entertainment Tonight Canada. And so I got to meet her. I didn't know, I've never seen her season, so I knew kind of a few highlights about her. I knew who she was as soon as I walked in, but I didn't know a whole lot more beyond that. But she was so nice. And I met her after the show in the backyard interviews as well. And so anyway, it was fun to see Ika come back into the house and kind of reprise her role. It's a little bit like Caitlin Herman when she came back into our house and she did introduce the puzzle challenge that we had to do in the backyard, the haunting of Caitlin Herman and all of that. That was a cool challenge. I didn't win, but it was a fun challenge. In fact, that was the veto ceremony that I got booted just a couple of days later when I got booted and had to come back in the house. Looking back, I guess I should have won that veto, huh? Yeah, it worked out for the better. But anyway, it was a fun episode to watch. It was fun watching these house guests get roasted just a little bit. I'm ready for Canadian Zingbot. I don't know what form that takes, a mechanical moose or something. I don't know. I bet y'all Canadians get tired of all the moose and Canadian Mountie references, stereotypes, things like that. But yeah, it was fun watching the episode, but I got to say, it brought back some of the stresses, even from my own season. As I'm watching people scrambling around and yelling at each other, Betty's saying, why didn't you tell me this? And are you really doing this? And why did you lie to me? And Summer's upset. And it just made me think back to our final five when it was Holly versus Tommy, and what a horrible decision. Not that we made. It's horrible having to go back and forth trying to figure out what was right, or the yelling and arguing that took place when everyone's trying to decide whether Sam was going home or Kat was going home. I watch these shows now, and I'm so emotionally involved sometimes when I see people struggling or really just having to fight with what they think is their best decision. And sometimes their best decision strategically may not be the best decision emotionally or loyalty or friendship wise. And it just takes a lot out of you. So yeah, I watch episodes like that, and it just kind of hits me right here a little bit. So it's, I hope y'all can hear me okay. I had my microphone over here. Anyway, so yeah, it was a fun episode to watch. All right, a couple of questions. Anthony's saying there's always something you can do different, both in the Big Brother house and out here in public. Yeah, absolutely. It's, you do the best you can. That's not just Big Brother. I feel like Big Brother and Survivor too. It's a lot about life. It mimics a lot of life compressed into just a short period of time. At the end of the day, as long as you do your best, hold your head up high, and even if you make a little misstep here or there, you know what? Things happen. You just have to be adaptable. You have to pick yourself up, and you have to keep going. So I certainly think it's worth keeping in mind what has happened in the past, but you got to stay looking forward, right? I feel like a Confucius says or something. You do the best you can while in your house, and as long as you do that, you come out and you're fine. What's funny is that when you get out, not everyone, some people really hold grudges, and there's people in my season, other seasons, they'll never talk to each other. It's just too much baggage, I guess, going on with it. I wasn't like that. I was like, whatever. We played a game. You beat me at Monopoly. You beat me playing Parcheesi or poker or something. Well, whatever. Then we're going to walk away, and I'd like to be friends afterwards. And so I've tried to do that for the most part, because it is just a game. But there's some people that just can't ever quite take it that way. And, it's to each his own. It's a game, but it's a game for $500,000 or $100,000 if you're in Canada. I'd still be chapped if I was Canadian playing for only $100K. They deserve a lot more than that. All right, a couple of questions more. Julia, what's one thing you learned about yourself when you were a house guest? I think what I learned is that as much as I talked about going in that, you know what, I'm gonna look like the loyal guy and all of that, but at the end of the day, it's all gonna be strategic. I'll cheat, I'll lie, I'll stab someone in the back, I'll do whatever it takes to win the money. And that's easy to say. And I still feel that way. But when you're stuck in that house with these people for so long, you do develop relationships. And to some degree, it's not that I wasn't still willing to do that, but sometimes those relationships create a little bit of bias in your decision making, right? It makes it a little bit tougher to always see that most direct, the best plan of action, because you're kind of tempered with your emotions and all that. And so what I learned is that as much as I talked about making this the game and this is real life, and I'm not going to let the two overlap with each other, at the end of the day, I kind of play the game a lot like the way I live life, in that I just can't be too horrible to people, even when maybe sometimes I should be. So I don't know. So the short answer is maybe I learned I'm not quite as ruthless as I thought I was at the end of it. If there's something you're going to learn about yourself, maybe that's not such a bad thing. I can live with that. I'm okay with that. But yeah, that may be one of them. The other thing I learned is that I actually I do pretty well in terms of social engineering and working with people, and I kind of showed myself and hopefully showed other people that, I was 30 years older than everyone in that house, but you don't let that stop you, be it age or whatever you may think is one of your limitations. You don't ever let it stop you, because you can do a pretty dang good job regardless of whatever you think your shortcomings are and your advantages. We all have our good and bad things about how we handle life. I felt like I did all right for the age and everything else. All right, what else do we have on here? Stephanie's saying, "Hi, Cliff. I heard your name mentioned on the live feeds earlier." Oh, really? Well, okay. Well, thank you. I haven't been watching the live feeds as much as I normally would. One, it's just hard to watch on Canada versus US systems. Two, every time I go out to the live feeds, it seems like they're not working anyway. So it's a little tough. But yeah, so I missed that. But thank you. I'm glad to hear. I say I'm glad to hear it. I hope it was said in a somewhat positive manner. I hope there's not someone up there saying, "Oh yeah, we're not gonna do like that bozo Cliff down there that was talking to the top of his voice and got overheard or something." I did hear that Kevin apparently is a huge fan. We talked RHAP earlier. Yeah, and Michelle said it. Kevin's a super fan. Said I can't watch the feeds and listen to him talk about it. That was sad. I can't watch the feeds and listen. I agree. I heard the same thing, that Kevin's a big fan. Apparently, there was one of RHAP's patron accounts maybe that Kevin had called into. I like that. I didn't know that. Yeah, here I am cheering for Kevin, and it makes me feel that much better that hopefully when he gets out of the house, when this is all over, I want to reach out to him and see what he's doing. Maybe go have a beer with him and compare notes and everything. I've met a lot of the BB Canada people over the last year or so, and all in all, they're all incredible people. Everyone's been so friendly when I talk to them. So yeah, Kevin's one of those I'd certainly like to reach out to and talk to him as well. So I like hearing that. Thank you. All right, what else do we have on here? Mark saying, "What grade would you give this season of Big Brother Canada so far?" Oh, I don't know. It's so hard to say. There have been some decent twists. It's certainly not been as predictable as some of our last couple of seasons of Big Brother USA, right? I mean, Cookout did wonderful, but it made for a little bit of boring season. And also, I don't know. I'm gonna give them a solid B plus, maybe. I like the cast. I mean, everyone who was in there, even the ones who went home fairly early, I liked all of them. So from a casting standpoint, I'll give it an A. From a strategy standpoint, yeah, I think it's been solid. So I'll give it a strong B. So you average those two out and get a B plus or so. I like it. Even in some of the stuff that has not gone, not the best strategy play. I mentioned before that Marty was kind of a little sloppy a few times. Kyle was definitely sloppy. There have been certainly some HOH weeks that they've been fun as a viewer to watch. Inside the house would have been incredibly frustrating. I just keep thinking about Frenchie's HOH from last year and all that. So those are fun. You got to have a little bit of the chaos and a little bit of just the hardcore drama and everything else. I really enjoyed Big Brother Canada last year. I thought that was a top-notch season. This one's right up there with it. And here's the other thing. There's 5 people left in this game. I'm okay with any one of them winning this season. I think each of them in their own way. Now, I said before I'm cheering for Kevin, but each of them in their own way has done what it takes to get to where they need to go. I mean, even Betty, she hadn't been nominated yet. I mean, I think, and I could be wrong. I'm trying to stay caught up, but no, they've all played a great game, social, competitive, etc. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way it's gone. Now let's see how Big Brother USA works, because 24 is coming right up before too long, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what kind of people make it into the house. And here's the thing. We haven't really had in the last couple of seasons. Of course, we had All-Stars, and then we had last season. But I'm looking for another stereotypical older guy, cowboy ties, someone like me. I'm looking for someone like that to come into the house just to kind of compare my game versus their game, see how they do. And it wouldn't have to be an older guy. It could be an older woman as well. I want to see some older folks get into the house. One, so I can cheer them on just a little bit more, but also just to see how they play the game, how they interact with some of the younger castmates and such. Moss saying, as Dr. Will Kirby will tell you, social games. Social games, the reason Russell lost in Samoa. Yeah, I know it. I know it. Russell was such an impressive player in Survivor, and yet he just couldn't figure out why he made it to the final 2 twice and lost it both times. You gotta be I don't know. You've got to be able to stab someone in the back while letting them think it's the most horrible decision you ever had to make in front of them. And you got to be able to stab them in the back while also making them feel sorry for you that you had to make the decision to stab them back. Russell didn't do that. Russell was just like, you need to go. You aren't any good and all that. Not how you win. Look at my season. Jackson Mickey won, 6-3? 6-3. Yeah, 6-3. He won, but not by a whole lot. And his social game, his jury messages, some of the ways he talked to a few people, he's a little bit lucky. And he's lucky in that he dominated so much from a competitive standpoint on the HOH and the veto competitions. He came on so strong in the second half. That kind of saved his tail. And I think a little bit going up against his girlfriend and at the time and Holly and all that probably helped a little bit as well. But he easily could have lost our season of Big Brother just because I don't know that he necessarily handled the social game management nearly as well as he should have. So yeah, it's all about the social game. People are going to come in. Some people you just look at and you look at Jonathan this season as Survivor. You just know they're going to be a beast and that they're going to win a certain number of challenges just because of who they are. But unless you're so good that you're going to win every single week, and you can't do that in Big Brother. Survivor, you can, but not Big Brother. You still have to depend upon your social game, and you have to depend upon your connections, your protections, your loyalties from other people. And some people are much better at doing that than others are. And even if you can't do that, it'll get you halfway through these games, but it won't get you to the end. Most of the time, it won't. All right, Chris, would you watch a BBUK revival? Yeah, probably. I mean, I've heard talk that they're talking about bringing it back. Seems like the Big Brother UK almost seems like they did a lot more celebrity than they did regular. Or maybe towards the end, it was a little bit more of the celebrity side of it, if I recall. Personally, I like the regular old folks coming in more so than celebrity versions. I mean, Big Brother celebrity here in the U.S., yeah, it's a fun little winter few weeks and things like that just to keep us entertained for a while. But it's really the unknowns, the regular people coming in that I enjoy a little bit more. So I'd rather see a Big Brother UK with just regular old castmates and such. But the big question is, because they still did it the way most of Europe and the rest of the world does it, right? Where it's not the castmates voting each other out. I think it's the castmates pick. I don't know if y'all can hear that. We got a lot of thunder going on. I think the castmates pick the top two people who are on the block, and then maybe the studio audience or the viewing audience votes on who goes home. I think that's the way it works, right? A little different than we do here. And I always remember season 1 of Big Brother over here. They tried it that way. And apparently, as Americans, are just too nice. Yeah, I know. As nice as we are, Canadians, y'all are even nicer, which is why y'all do it as well. But it seems like we sent home all the evil, the mean people, the ones that are creating the chaos. So then we're just stuck with the ones that were super nice, but kind of boring. Whereas I guess the rest of the world just says, yeah, no, we'll get rid of the boring people. We want the crazy people. Which, I don't know. How would I have done if the viewing audience was voting instead of the people inside the house? I'd like to think that it would make it a lot less effective to have that big old Grateful Eight alliance. So that would have benefited me. I sure would have been talking to the cameras even a little bit more if I knew that was the case. So trust me on that. All right, what else we got? Jake, the horror movie geek. Happy belated birthday. Well, thank you, Jake. I appreciate that. During your Whacktivity competition, what was the stinkiest thing you had to smell? Impure durian? Now, here's the thing. And I don't know if y'all all remember it, but we had to go smell there were 3 trash cans in front of us. We had to smell those and then try to go match them to odors outside in the backyard. That was hard. I've worked out in the oil field for a long time, and there's a product, H2S, which if you ever have a gas leak and you have that rotten egg smell, that's what H2S gas is. And sometimes you get out in the oil field, and the first thing that happens with H2S, if you breathe too much of it, it'll start burning out your sense of smell until you get away from it. And then it comes back. But I think I spent way too much time out in the oil field because my sense of smell is not anywhere close to some of the other people around the world. So as soon as I saw that challenge, I thought, man, I'm in trouble. But of all the different smells we had, the durian is the one thing I thought, man, I got a leg up on these people because I've been over in the Far East, in Indonesia and Singapore, places where they have durian. I knew exactly what it smelled like. And so I was like, all right, I got this one. This is a piece of cake. And as it turns out, I was right. And that's the first smell I got correct. But no, the worst smell, I think, was it was like rotten potatoes. I think is what it was. Now, we were supposed to know the difference between fox urine and coyote urine and, I don't know, raccoon urine or something. It's kind of seems the same to me, but those were a little tough. But I remember those rotten potatoes had the strongest ammonia smell. You just take a whiff and whoo, it was strong. Those were horrible. And the worst part about those smells is as soon as you got that strong ammonia smell, you couldn't smell anything else for another minute or two. It really took a little while before your nose got back into smelling shape, so to speak. So it's like being in Yankee Candle, or Bed Bath Body Works, whatever. You're in there for a little while. Suddenly you can't smell anything after a little while. But yeah, that was tough. Ma saying, I hope the urines weren't real urine. I'm not going to put anything past them. As tough as it was to smell it, it may be tougher for the person who has to go out and actually assemble all those odors and do it. Now, here's a little scoop for y'all. It's been a few years, so you may not remember, but if you watch it on the episode, we go through like 3 rounds. And on the 3rd round, Ovi gets it right, partly because Ovi and myself and Nicole were already trying to work together. And so we met. I don't remember if they showed it, but we would meet outside our little shed area where we made our guesses and kind of compare notes on what we had tried, different combinations. I remember Ovi coming up saying, hey, Cliff, did you try this and this? And I said, yeah, but I didn't try this. And so it could have messed it up. And anyway, based on that is how he got his final guess that was correct. He didn't tell me. I wish he had, but it's a game. But that's how Ovi won it. But the TV episode showed it taking like 3 rounds and then we were done. In reality, it took us 5, 6 episodes. I don't know. It took a lot of rounds. I say episodes. It took us a lot of rounds, 5 or 6 rounds at least, before we got it right. And they just, for the sake of time in the episode and all, they cut a lot of that out. But it got so bad at one point, we heard over the loudspeakers them saying, all right, guys, if y'all don't start getting, some of this right, we're going to have to kind of help y'all along by removing some of the odors from choices and things like that. And right about when they said that is when Ovi finally got it right. But it got to the point at the end where I was thinking, oh my God, just let someone get this right. I can't spend the next hour out there continuing to smell these things over and over again because it was disgusting. It was absolutely horrible. And the worst part is when we got done and we got back in the house, that odor was all over us. I remember Nicole coming up to me and saying, oh my God, I can smell it on your coat. And I could smell it on hers. And it didn't matter how many times we showered and bathed and used soap and everything. It still was just, for days, it was around everything. Those odors were so overwhelming. But I also remember after we got done thinking so much, who won this thing? And I always thought, well, it could either be Ovi, because I knew I helped him right at the end, or it could be Kat, because Kat had said something about her mom worked as a perfume tester or something. And so as soon as she said that, I thought, all right, well, that family must have some good olfactory measuring or whatever. And so I thought, well, it could be Kat, could be Ovi. Did matter. It was a great power, and it never even got used because Ovi got sent home. It was unfortunate. If Ovi had stayed just a little bit longer, Ovi and myself and Nicole could have done something in that house. I truly think the 3 of us, as well as Nicole and I did, we could have chased it just a little bit further as well. I think. We'll never know, but it was fun playing with them. Misfire saying, I applied but haven't heard anything. But my audition tape was fire. Well, I am sure it was. And here's the thing. I saw things saying over 10,000 people, supposedly over 10,000 people have applied. That could be true. It's probably, I can easily see that. So I always tell everyone, lightning in a bottle, someone has to get picked. It's just like winning the lottery. Someone has to win, case in point. But you never know. Misfire, it's not over yet. They're still looking at the tapes and everything else. For all you know, they're sitting there with 15 people thinking, all right, we got 15. We just need that one little element. And they have gone through thousands of videotapes that just weren't quite right. And they're going to see yours and say, there you go. Now, we didn't even need to look at those tapes. Hey, you never know. I was the very last person to try out at my casting call in Houston when I tried out. And I always laugh thinking, that these casting people sit there all day long in this bar, hundreds and hundreds of people coming in trying, you should pick me for this, you should pick me for this. And they spent all day long thinking, geez, we're just not seeing what we want. And the very last person that came in at the end of the day, they said, I know, hopefully they said, oh, this is perfect. Hopefully they didn't say, he's the last one, we got to have someone. So, by default, I don't think that was the case, but you never know. But here's the thing too, for all those thousands of people that tried out and didn't make it, it doesn't matter, because just the idea that you're willing to put yourself on a video and throw yourself out there to these producers and these casting people, whether you get picked or not, that shows a lot of, just someone who's willing to take risks, someone who's willing to stand up and say, here I am, accept me or not, this is who I am. You should treat the whole thing as a journey. If it gets shut down before you get to go to LA and be on a show and all, well, it's okay. It's still a fun thing to do. And you get to tell everyone forever afterwards that, hey, I tried out for Big Brother. Yeah, I didn't make it, but I bet I was guest number 17 out of the 16 they took. Or, I bet I was pretty close. Just didn't quite work out. And that's the other thing the producers always told us. I don't know how many times I got told by these casting people saying, Cliff, here's the thing. You may make it on the show, but if you don't, it may not be because you said or did anything wrong. It may just be that the other people we had, you just didn't quite fit in with what we were going for, and has nothing to do with you. And don't ever think of it as a failure, because it's not. It's just sometimes the way it works out. And I tell everyone else that as well, because again, it's just such a weird deal. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. All right, Ma saying, what do you think would have happened if no one got it right after hours and hours? Well, I think they would have just kept on pulling away our choices until finally there's 3 cents and there's four signs, 5 signs, 6 signs. And at some point, just through pure luck, someone's got to get it right. Or for that matter, you as the viewers, y'all don't know what it smells like, right? So if Big Brother suddenly says, yeah, Cliff, you got it right. Well, y'all don't know whether I got it right or not. We're just relying on the producers. Now, I think they would just kept on taking away choices until someone would have gotten it right. Meanwhile, I would have been collapsed over in the side of the shed saying, I can't smell anymore. That was rough, guys. And here's the other 2 activities that they did. One of them involved a bunch of snakes and trying to pick the 2 snakes that matched up. My mom is a science teacher. My mom raised snakes at our house. I grew up with snakes. So, it would have been zero concern of mine to find those snakes. I'm used to looking. I've spent a lot of time out in the woods and stuff too. So I spent a lot of time looking for snakes and figuring out which ones are poisonous, which ones aren't. So I would have done fine in the snake challenge. The other one involving the roaches, and you had to solve a little word puzzle. I would have done fine. But the bugs don't bother me nearly as much as those smells did. So it's unfortunate that I got put in that particular challenge, but it's unexpected. That's Big Brother for you. It was a fun challenge, though. All right, Charity Whitman, hello from Mississippi. Well, howdy, Mississippi. I hope you're doing well. I used to go to Mississippi quite a bit. I haven't been there for a while, but welcome. I love Mississippi. Ma saying hello from Virginia. Well, Ma, again, I love Virginia. And Rich Cat Ranch saying, hi, running late. All right, we're here waiting for you. No worries at all. Mississippi, Virginia. I love traveling. I wish I need to do a little bit more of it. I am traveling next week up to Pennsylvania, to Pittsburgh. Got a little show, and hopefully that won't get in the way of my Cliff Notes Live Monday night and everything. We're still planning to do it, but I'll give you all a little more information on that on down the road. So, well, gosh, so much to talk about. And I barely start talking about Big Brother Canada. We got into Survivor and all of that. Did y'all see on the feeds that Christy Murphy got married yesterday? I think it's yesterday. Maybe I guess it's Saturday. Christy got married down in Tulum, Mexico. I guess that's over by Cancun and Cozumel and all those places. So she married her girlfriend, Jamie. I've met Jamie. Hadn't seen Christy in a while, and I met her last December over in Orlando. And the two of them so happy together. I'm so happy for both of them. I hate that I couldn't go down there and watch the wedding itself, but it just couldn't work out. But now they had they had a wonderful wedding. It was a lot of fun seeing all the posts and the feeds from everything else. And I think Sis went down there, Holly went down there, Tommy was down there, obviously, and then Nick went down there as well. So a few of my Big Brother house guests went down for the wedding, and a beautiful wedding. I love watching my son get married. I loved watching my daughter get married, such special occasions. And now to get to see Christy and her girlfriend getting married as well. It's pretty cool. Love is in the air. It's that time of year, right? So that was pretty neat. And Jeff Mertz is out there. Jeff, how are y'all doing? I think I've said on this show before, Jeff Mertz, my long lost brother. Jeff and I grew up together in Fort Worth. Then when we moved to Arlington, Jeff's family moved to Arlington. Myself, my brother Robert, and Jeff, the three Musketeers. Three of us, three Musketeers, right? Now we did everything together. Jeff's over in California now. So I got Jeff's one of the very first people I saw after I got out of the Big Brother house. For those, I'll tell you this story. After we got done with Big Brother, we had the very next night, the night that the finale happened, went back to where I'd been kept in Sequester, and my wife and mom and kids and my future son-in-law, future daughter-in-law were all there. So it was so great seeing all of them. And they got to meet a lot of my house guests, their families, and I met everyone's families. It was really neat. But then the next day, a lot of the people in the house went to Las Vegas. I said, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm going to stick around with the family and kind of be the LA tourist. So we went, what did we do? We went and hit Hollywood Boulevard and did all the stuff that tourists always do. And then that night we did they had a big rap party at a bar, and it was a lot of fun meeting everyone and talking some more and meeting the fans and all that. But the next day, went over and got to see where Jeff works. He's an animator, so we got to see him do all his animation stuff and all. It was really cool. I had a blast doing it. So, hey, Jeff, how are you doing? All right, let's see. What else do we have on here? Chris, hello from Cheyenne, Wyoming. Tip of the hat to you. I've never been to Wyoming. I feel like I would fit right in. Makes me think Yellowstone takes place in Wyoming, right? I think so. If not, I'm sure y'all are going to correct me. I still need to watch Yellowstone. But yeah, that was. I keep hearing so much about the show. So yeah, I want to watch that. All right, couple of things. I promise I'm trying to get through a few notes here and there. We mentioned a couple of things. All right, hold on. My computer's acting up on me, but we'll fix it. Someone asked about the background. All right, there's a story behind this background. As someone mentioned, a few people mentioned, I did celebrate my birthday yesterday. Yay! Turned 57. And as part of my birthday, our birthday tradition in our family is whoever's birthday is always gets to go eat somewhere that they get to pick. Well, I typically always try to pick somewhere a little, I don't know, international, somewhere that's kind of new, different and all that. So yesterday, I got my wife went with me, my daughter, my son-in-law that live here in Houston, and we went and ate at a ramen noodle restaurant. Oh, it was so good. I love Asian food. I hadn't really tried ramen that much. So hence the background. I had a bunch of ramen noodles from the restaurant I ate at. I didn't eat all of that. I may have eaten one or two, but that's a stock photo. I didn't eat all of that. But I had a big old bowl of noodles with an egg in it, and they said, "Do you want it mild, hot, or spicy?" And I said, "Yeah, spicy. I want it as spicy as you can get it." They got it pretty spicy. They got it really spicy. So, yeah, I had fantastic ramen noodles yesterday. I've been in an international eating kick, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because I spent so much time with COVID. I'm still trying to recover from that. But I was at a conference up in Fort Worth, I don't know, a month or so ago. Yeah, it's the 1st of March. So I guess almost 2 months ago, I was up there. And I ate at the most amazing Korean restaurant. Oh, so good. Bibimbap I had up there. Oh, so good. And not Bibimbap, the Barney the dinosaur friend, but no, Bibimbap, the crispy rice that Koreans have. I ate that, and I've just been in an Asian international food kick ever since. So for Easter, we went and ate at a restaurant up in Arlington called Prince's Lebanese Grill. Oh, so good. All this Mediterranean food, Arabic food. I had a shawarma, which is basically just, they take meat or chicken that's compressed on a rotisserie type thing, and they slice it off, and they put it in a big old thick piece of bread for you. And so I had that with jasmine rice and lamb kebabs and Turkish coffee. It was so good. So I had that on Easter Day. Right before that, went and ate with my family. We went and ate Thai food, and I had some pad Thai and some super hot spicy soup. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just in a kind of spicy mood. Maybe it's because you can't eat that as well. I love spicy stuff, but when it's 110 degrees outside in Houston, sometimes you don't want to spice it up quite as much. So I'm getting it in while I can before it gets too miserable down here. But yeah, I've been eating a lot of fun meals. And so yesterday for my birthday, it was the ramen noodles, had a blast. Well, when we got done, came back to the house, and I had my favorite birthday cake waiting for me. Everyone in my family knows that my favorite cake is strawberry cake. Any kind of strawberry cake I love. Yesterday I had strawberry tres leches cake. So it was strawberry cake infused with milk. Oh, so good. I ate way too much. I had a bit of a sugar coma by the time I got through eating some of that cake, but yeah, it was so incredible. So we did that. Had a little birthday celebration. I got a few gifts. I'll show one of them off to y'all just because I don't know, it's fun. Y'all know I like to grow stuff, right? So here you go. This is one of the gifts I got. Can you see that? Organic mushroom growing kit. I think you just kind of cut the front off, put a little water in there, put it back in a closet somewhere, and let it grow. And then the real challenge, are you brave enough to cook it up and eat it? Yeah, I will. So I'll let y'all know how it works out. But yeah, I'm going to be not only a loofah farmer, but now I guess I'll be a mushroom farmer as well. I've seen the price of mushrooms in grocery stores. If you were so inclined, I feel like you could probably make a lot of money growing mushrooms if you knew which ones to grow and did it the right way and all of that. So I don't know, maybe there's a future career that I need to look into. But yeah, I got all kinds of cool gifts, including growing some mushrooms and such. So it was a fine day yesterday, spent with the family, and it was a lot of fun. And so what else? I got another background for you. I got my wife throwing a few hints here or there because I forgot about this. For those of you who saw my YouTube reminder or who came in through Instagram as well, I put it out there also. I did a little Photoshop, and I think Mom mentioned it already, a little Photoshop of me on a bicycle. And I'm really curious to see if any of y'all know what that's from, the original photo. Probably not, but if so, let me know. I'm not going to wait. I'll just go ahead and tell you. I watched The Most Amazing Show over the weekend, the first episode or two of the series called My Personal Servant. I think that's what it's called. I can't remember it now. Pretty sure it's My Personal Servant. But here's what's interesting about it. Ukraine, they're getting attacked by Russia. I feel for them, stand by Ukraine, all that. But the guy who's president of Ukraine, Zelensky, has really kind of stood out by standing up and being brave and giving inspirational speeches and really doing a lot for the people of Ukraine. He makes me think that's probably what people felt about. Well, someone's calling, give me a little information. I feel like the way Zelensky's talking is probably the way Winston Churchill spoke during World War II or something when Hitler was bombing the English. I don't know, but I didn't realize that he became president because he actually had done a movie or TV show about a history teacher who gets mad. It just takes place in Ukraine. He gets mad about the way politics are being run in Ukraine. And so he starts venting, just, I can't stand politicians. If they just would vote for me, I know what to do it, but the politicians will never do what the people need. Well, someone accidentally records them. They put it on YouTube. He goes viral, becomes an internet sensation. Next thing you know, this kind of nobody guy has gotten elected to be the new president of Ukraine. And so this whole show is kind of a comedy about him trying to deal with politics. And suddenly now he's a president. He's just a regular person. So it's all kind of cool already. But the fact that because he did this show and he got famous because of it, that fact kind of replicated fiction because he got famous because of it. And then he got elected to be the real president of the Ukraine. And then while he's president, all of this stuff happens. And suddenly he's called upon to actually not just sit up there for 4 years or whatever and do politician type stuff, but he's actually responsible for his country and trying to survive and, the life or death of his country. This is a guy who was just an actor on a show. And so I think it's called My Personal Servant. And I watched, anyway, so the background is of him riding a bicycle with all the Secret Service type people following along behind him and everything. I just thought it was so interesting watching that. And it's a little sad watching as well, because it's a comedy. And then you know that this guy eventually becomes president, all that, but it's all filmed in Ukraine. So seeing all of this stuff, Ukraine looks so much like anywhere here in the U.S. or anything. It's just very, very typical. You know, it's not some exotic place. It's a very conventional, normal looking place. And to know that so many of those things that are shown have been bombed, have been destroyed, there's so much tragedy going on over there. It just really hit home. So I haven't watched a whole series yet, but I certainly want to, because it was how surreal is it that some actor then suddenly becomes president? I mean, Ronald Reagan did that over here, but he spent a lot of time eventually becoming a politician. Donald Trump kind of did that as well, but this was just different. It was just, I don't know, it's just different. Maybe because I knew the politician before I knew the actor. And so I saw what he did in real life, and then went back and saw this show. It's very interesting. So if you haven't watched it, check out My Personal Servant and let me know what you think. And Michelle's saying, where do you stream it? It's on Netflix. Apparently it was on a few years ago, and it did okay, but no one really cared because Ukraine. I mean, it's Ukraine, right? No one really cared about Ukraine that much until everything happened. So now they've brought it back for people to watch, and I guess it's trending. A lot of people are watching it. So yeah, it's definitely on Netflix. I have to think about it, because it seems like we've got so many. Obviously, I've got Paramount Plus, so I can watch my Big Brother live feeds. I was about to say Big Brother Canada. There are some Big Brother Canada seasons on Paramount, but not the current season. It is so hard watching Big Brother Canada at times. I wish they'd fix that. Man. So we got Paramount, we got Netflix. I feel like I've got every streaming service possible sometimes, and I still can't find shows I want to watch occasionally. It's tough, but hey, welcome to first world problems, right? All right. So what else do we have going on? I had a few things. 7:49. All right, we got a few minutes. All right. I had a question last week, and I hate sometimes I get through. I say, hey guys, y'all have a great one. I shut down, and then I see a couple of questions pop up that I just didn't have a chance to get to. And so I always try to take a few notes. So if I ever miss one, feel free to still pop it out there, and I'll see if I can't get to next week. But I had a question last week that I wanted to answer. Someone said, what movies did you watch while you were in Sequester? And I know I've mentioned a few of these before, but before I went into the Big Brother house, it's different. Before I went into the Big Brother house, I wanted to watch other Big Brother seasons, and they said, yeah, we don't have any of those discs. You can't do that. So I watched a lot of shows. You're stuck alone for so long. So I was trying to watch happy shows, energetic shows. I like musicals. I watched Mamma Mia multiple times, and then I found out later that Tommy and Nicole were requesting as well. So the three of us just kept passing this disc around. You know, I'd call and say, hey, do y'all have that? No, someone else is watching it. We'll get to you a little bit later. And we just kept doing that. I watched that. I was trying to exercise while I was in Sequester, so I'd be in as good a shape as I can be in. So I actually watched 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. And I don't remember if you remember, but there's one scene where the 7 brothers are kind of dance fighting against the townspeople, and they're jumping up and down, and they're doing this. And I was trying, how to do as a TikTok video. I'd probably, maybe it'd go viral. I don't know, but yeah, I was trying to replicate the dance of the 7 Brides for the 7 Brothers and doing a lot of the singing along. I feel sorry for whoever was nearby and had to listen to me banging around on the floors and everything else. But I watched that. So I tried to watch a lot of happy, fun movies when I went in. When I got out, I was in a whole different mood. At that time, it's just like, just get this over with. Let's just vote. Let me go home, see my family. I'm tired of it at this point now that I'm not in the house. And so I started binge watching Mad Men because I hadn't seen it before. And I think I binge watched 4 or 5 seasons. A lot of seasons, to the point that I know the producers, I'd call it 4:30 in the morning and say, hey guys, can I get can I get the DVD for the next 4 episodes of Mad Men? And they'd say, well, Cliff, yeah, it's fine. We'll bring it to you, but you aren't sleeping at all, are you? And I said, well, no, I'm not really in the mood to be sleeping. I'm just waiting for my family. And there was definitely an adjustment between getting booted from the house and getting a chance to see my family and everything else. There was, I certainly spent a lot of time just kind of saying, God, I got to decide who I'm going to vote for, which is stressful. Knowing that Nicole was still in the house, but not knowing how she had done yet, and thinking, oh, please let her have won one of these last competitions, and that she can win this thing, but not knowing. And there's just a lot of emotions going on. So I just kind of watched Mad Men and tried to put all of that behind me. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But yeah, that was my main binge watching when I got out of the house before we cast the vote, before I actually got a chance to see my family and go on home. So we saw that. All right, let's see what else. Amanda, thought you would have chosen Whataburger for your birthday dinner. That's not a bad idea. Yeah, that's not bad. That's kind of more a birthday lunch, right? Whataburger sent me some stuff, said, hey, it's your birthday, come in and get a discount and all of that. Yeah, I guess I was just in an international. Whataburger is my comfort food. Whataburger is one of those restaurants I go to when I just want to feel comfortable and at home and kick back and all of that. But sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Well, yesterday I felt like a little bit of a nut, i.e. going out and trying something a little more adventurous and everything. So yeah, Whataburger. I'm just thinking I probably should have stopped on the way home. I could have gotten Whataburger for a late night snack and had the best of both worlds. Next time. Gives you something to look forward to. Mark Taylor saying, did the Beast prove as important on Survivor? God, when do you take him out, now or closer to the end? I guess it depends on how close you think he is to protecting you, right? I mean, if I'm Omar, maybe I'm waiting just a little while before I take him out. If I'm Marianne, I'm probably going to take him out as soon as I get the chance. If I'm Romeo or someone else that's not a big muscular person, maybe as well. So I don't know. We'll see. And you said the Beast. I hope you're talking about Jonathan on Survivor. It's funny. That's what my mind goes to when you mention that. But yeah, I don't know. That guy is so phenomenal. Every time I watch him perform, it's to the point now, anytime there's a challenge, I fully expect him to win. And so, yeah, he's like a few past seasons, Mike Holloway, Ben, a few people who just won a lot of challenges. And we saw, well, they won. I think you got to take him out as quick as you can. But I don't want to see it because I really like him as a player. And I think he's a nice guy. He's got it all together. Not only is he a strong competitor, but it seems like from a social game standpoint, he does pretty well as well. So, yeah. But, yeah, I think if you're someone else in there, you probably got to get him out sooner rather than later. Right? I would think so. So, let's see what we've got. What else do we have on here? So, I feel so ramped up after watching that Big Brother Canada and then jumping on here and talking away. I'm going to get done with that. Y'all don't know it, but after I do the show and after I get done, then Sharon and I eat dinner. So I always delay the dinner until after I've done the show. So when I get done here, I'll kind of do a big, take a big breath after talking for so long. We'll fix some dinner. Normally we watch Below Deck. That's my other reality show that I'm caught up on right now. Not a competition, not a game show reality, but it's certainly a reality show as well. I've been watching Big Brother Down Under also, which is Big Brother takes place down in Australia. That's cool. I'll never be rich enough to be able to go on one of those yachts, but I'd love to travel down to Australia and see some of those coral reefs and everything. It's just beautiful down there. It's incredible. All right, Brian's saying in season 10, Memphis had a Whataburger shirt on. He has good taste. I don't know how he got a Whataburger shirt in that house because I wanted to wear not a Whataburger. That I had already been told you can't have company logos, anything like that. I had a hat that had A&M SPE, Society of Petroleum Engineers. I almost didn't get that hat in there. I had to beg and plead, say, look, it's a school organization. It's not a private company. And finally said, all right, well, we can do that. I had a NASA shirt. And y'all know I recreated the moon landing on July 30th while I was in there. And that was a big deal for me to support NASA. So I had a NASA shirt. And they said, we're sorry, Cliff, but it's not the only thing that you're absolutely allowed to have in a house are college logos and logos for police, firefighters and the military, I think. I could be wrong. There were certain exemptions. NASA wasn't one of them. And I was told, look, Cliff, it's, to have that inside the house, we would have to get permission from NASA. And to get permission from NASA takes forever because they're a government organization. It's just hard to do. So they ended up not giving me the shirt. You don't get everything that you bring in your luggage. They go through with a fine-tooth comb. Some stuff you get, some stuff you don't. I didn't get my NASA shirt. So I don't know how in the heck someone got a Whataburger shirt in there, or Memphis did. More power to them. And I promise you, I would have been right there if I thought I could. And I would have been shouting out Whataburger every single day. Maybe that's it. Maybe they thought, well, geez, if we give Cliff these logos, he's going to just talk about them all day long. I don't know. But yeah, more power to Memphis for doing that. Lord knows I talked about them enough, even though I didn't have the logo itself. So, all right, let's see what else we've got. 7:58. All right. And someone posted out there, I guess Better Call Saul is an episode coming up as well. I watched, what was the original? Better Call Saul's a spinoff from, I can't even think of the original. The guy making the drugs. Help me, guys. Just go ahead and type it real quick so I don't feel like an idiot for not knowing that. Better Call Saul is the sequel to, keep wanting to say Madman only because that's what I was talking to y'all earlier about. I'm scrolling down. Please help me. Yeah, Ma, I know. BCS is on. What's that a sequel, spinoff to? Oh, come on, guys. Yeah, man, he's going to drive me crazy. All right, Breaking Bad. Oh, thank you, Typhoid. I love Breaking Bad. I watched it. I didn't watch it when it was live. I came in after about season 2 or so, and I binge watched it, fell in love with it. Oh, it's such an incredible. There's an episode or two that was so emotional. I really hit me right here. There's one with a kid living in an abandoned home, little baby. Y'all know what I'm talking about if you watch it. There's a few really emotional episodes on there. But I love Breaking Bad, but I haven't kept up with Better Call Saul. I watched the first season, then just other things came up. So yes, I know it's an episode coming on. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. We'll finish it up. But guys, thank y'all so much for another fun Monday night together. I hope I answered most of your questions. If not, still put them out here and I'll follow up with them next week. But until then, thank you so much. If you haven't done so, subscribe to my show. Thumbs up is always appreciated. If you turn on notifications, whether it's this show or my Survivor show when I drop that, or I don't know, maybe I'll do recaps of Better Call Saul one of these days as well. But you get notifications and all of it if you turn on notifications. So thank you all. Thank you for the birthday greetings from Law, y'all. Patsy, I see that as well. Thank y'all all so much. Y'all have a fantastic last week of April. This year is going so fast. Then we're into May showers. We're starting early down here, but y'all have a great last week of April. I will see y'all Wednesday night to do a drop on Survivor's recap, and then again Monday night. Next week we'll talk all over again. Y'all give me any questions, topics you want to talk about, we'll cover it. Until then, SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love all of y'all out here. Give each other hugs. Take care of each other. Cheers, my friends. Bye.